Now at 6:30, the City of Athens plans to raise taxes, but will it be on people's income or property? We have a full breakdown of what the city plans to do.
Plus,
it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get.
President-elect Donald Trump meets with President Joe Biden for the first time since winning the presidential race. What the two discussed as Trump fills key government positions.
And in sports, Ohio is minutes away from another week of midweek action. Newswatch starts right now. Now taking a live look outside toward Peden Stadium, where the Ohio Bobcats are set to take the field in just less than 30 minutes.
Ohio squares off against Eastern Michigan in its first home action game of the season. Thanks for joining us. I'm Allison Patton.
And I'm Alex and Wally. Tonight's game is a must-win for the Bobcats as they continue to make their push to the MAC championship. And we got all the angles of tonight's game covered for you. Forecaster Lexi Polsi is here in studio with us, and she will have more on tonight's game later.
But we want to start tonight with sports reporter Andrew Bolby, who is live at Peden Stadium with more on tonight's matchup. Andrew, how are both teams looking tonight?
Well, guys, it's a little bit cold tonight, but that's nothing out of the ordinary for midweek action in November. And you're seeing behind me, fans are slowly but surely starting to pile in. It's free tuition night at Peden Stadium, so students are getting here nice and early, expecting a big crowd as it's also the only home action game of the year here in Athens. It's a big one for the Bobcats as well as they continue to push toward playing for a MAC title. So they need a win tonight as you get in this last chunk of the season. Stay tuned for all of our post-game content on Bobcat Showcase. For now, we're going to go back in studio with Alex and Allison.
Much, Andrew. We will definitely be checking back with you later.
Turning to the weather, Lexi, tonight's forecast could have a big impact on the game. What are you seeing tonight?
Yeah, guys, currently it's 51 degrees with clear skies and winds from our west at about 3 miles per hour. One thing that I kind of have a question about, Andrew, how are you not wearing a jacket? It's kind of cold out there, and it's only going to get a little bit colder as the night goes on and the game progresses, but we'll get into that in a second. Now, currently we have seen in the past 24 hours a low-pressure system start making its way across the middle U.S. into our viewing area. And we can see that better with some cloud cover. Now we're trying to start a transition out of some high pressure and clear skies into more cloudy and, unfortunately, rainy conditions. But on the bright side, we aren't expected to see any of that rain during the game. It was more expected afterward, but we'll get to that in a second. Now, today we did have some mostly cloudy skies with a high of 59. And we are going to see that low tonight of 39. Now, during the game, we are expected to see some temperatures about in the upper 40s, mid 40s. So it's still going to be a little chilly. Make sure you bring a jacket, but it's not going to be as bad as that 39 that we'll probably be seeing more closer to sunrise. There's tomorrow sunrise at 7:10 and that rain tonight as well. We'll take it back to Alex and Allison.
Thanks, Lexi. Athens City officials propose an income tax increase as revenue declines in the face of rising expenses.
The city administration is proposing a 0.3% increase to the city's income tax. This would raise rates from 1.95% to 2.25%. The proposal follows what has been a tough financial year for the city. Reserves in the general fund dropped to around 6.5% earlier this year because of a number of unexpected costs. The increase would also help make up for losses from changes in state tax law and staffing levels at Ohio University.
Some council members suggest the city should increase property taxes instead of income taxes.
The current income tax in the city of Athens is an earned income tax, which basically means the only people who pay it are those who go to work, get a check every week, every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks. Those who are collecting pensions, Social Security, investments, and interest do not pay.
The city hopes to have an ordinance passed on the issue by the end of January so that a measure can be placed on the May primary ballot. Today, a Jackson County fire chief is sentenced to 1 year in prison for embezzlement. In April, Johnny Baker pleaded guilty to 1 count of mail fraud after taking more than $200,000 from the Colton Volunteer Fire Department. Baker started a community fundraiser where the proceeds initially went to the fire department, but then he used the money for personal expenses such as vacations, sporting events, firearms, and an ATV.
A bill banning transgender students from using bathrooms and locker rooms fitting their gender identity is on its way to Governor Mike DeWine's desk. The Ohio Senate passed the bill along party lines this afternoon, 24-7. The bill requires K-12 to set separate bathrooms, locker rooms, and overnight accommodations based on student sex listed on a student's birth certificate. The bill, which also prohibits the construction of any all-gendered restrooms in schools. Democrats say this does more to harm students, while Republicans argue this bill actually protects kids.
It protects our children and grandchildren in private spaces where they are most vulnerable. It is us using our legislative authority to ensure schools are in fact safe environments.
These are people's lives, and we are making them less safe by ostracizing them.
The bill now heads to DeWine's desk for his signature. The bill would go into effect 90 days after it's signed. A new report shows Ohio could save billions of dollars if it replaced all lead pipes in the state. Ohio has more lead lines than almost any other state in the country. The company who made the report, Scioto Analysis, says replacing lead pipes in Ohio will cost about $5 billion. But the company estimates the state will gain at least $35 in benefit for every dollar spent.
Nationwide Children's Hospital says they are seeing an unusual increase in cases of walking pneumonia in Ohio, but experts say they might start a downward trend. Doctors say cases began increasing in June with children as young as 2 years old. However, experts say those cases may start declining as respiratory viruses like RSV are starting to rise. To help stop the spread of respiratory viruses, experts advise people to wash their hands, stay at home when sick, and wear a mask. The Appalachian Regional Commission awarded $8.2 million in funding toward 8 projects in Ohio. Ariel Teppert is live in the newsroom and has more on how the project plans to utilize their grant money.
Thanks, Alex. The Taylortown People of Color Museum has a rich history of Black and American culture. David Butcher and his team are working to help further the future of the museum.
And if you tell American history and you leave any part out of what I just said, you're not getting the whole story.
David Butcher says since he was young, he's been a history fanatic.
Been a collector my whole life. Not only a collector of items, but a collector of stories. Oral history, our oral history is, it's approaching 200 years now.
Butcher wanted to translate his love for history into a project. So he founded the Taylortown People of Color Museum, which sits in the same area that he and his ancestors are from. His main goal? To educate people on Black and American history, while making sure not to leave out any parts of the story.
I can't tell you about my African American history without talking about my German ancestry and my Native American ancestry. Anytime I leave any part of that out, you're only getting a partial truth.
Although Butcher says teaching history is important, it does not come without challenges.
Being a nonprofit, small organization is very difficult. And when you're dealing with federal grants, it is even more complicated.
Dr. Amanda Flowers, a member of the board of directors at the museum, says applying for grants are hard work, but well worth it.
There were times that he and I were talking at 3 o'clock in the morning because he was getting up to start working on not just our grant, but other grant projects he was doing, and I was going to bed because I had worked all night.
Their efforts paid off when they received a $40,000 grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission.
The focus of this grant is preserving the Underground Railroad and related Black history in the local area.
We hope to hire a researcher. We are working on tying this to the Underground Railroad, our history here, because let's face it, this is where everybody came from.
Oh, good.
This map right here was given to us by the Tabler family in Germany. Or not Germany.
Thank you so much, Ariel. That was Ariel Teppert reporting. Now, President-elect Donald Trump is back in Washington for the first time since he won the presidency.
Trump met with President Joe Biden, where the two discussed the transition process to Trump's second term. It's a tradition for the outgoing president to host the next commander-in-chief. Trump didn't host Biden in 2020 because of false claims of voter fraud, nor did Trump go to Biden's inauguration.
Politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get.
Now the president-elect is making key appointments to his supporting offices, which could play into how policies are implemented. People close to Trump's plans say he could appoint the South Dakota governor as head of Homeland Security, while Florida Senator Marco Rubio is Trump's top choice for Secretary of State. Trump is also putting an Ohioan at the head of a new department. Vivek Ramaswamy, who grew up near Cincinnati, will join Elon Musk to head the Department of Government Efficiency. Despite its name, it's not a government agency. Trump says this outside group will advise the White House on reform and create an entrepreneurial approach to government.
So we have to rein in federal spending. It requires going line by line, agency by agency, department by department. This, frankly, I view as a debt commission, looking at, very much like a blue ribbon panel, looking at ways to reduce government inefficiency and spending.
While the new department can make suggestions, Congress has to approve any recommendations regarding money.
After 6 months of a steady downward trend, inflation has gone up. A new index shows the prices consumers pay for most goods and services increased last month. Laura Aguirre reports what people can expect under a new administration.
The Consumer Price Index out this morning from the Labor Department shows a 0.2% rise last month, which is a 2.6% increase year over year. The October reading is also a slight step back from the Fed's long-held goal of 2%.
Our policy stance, strength in the economy and the labor market can be maintained, with inflation moving sustainably down to 2%.
Chairman Jerome Powell announced another quarter-point drop last week, right after the presidential election.
We've learned from the election just how toxic inflation and high prices and high interest rates are to the American people.
Economist Larry Summers served as Treasury Secretary in the Clinton administration and is the former director of the National Economic Council.
The Fed has been in too much of a hurry to cut interest rates and much too much of a hurry to promise future interest rate cuts.
While Summers has concerns about the pace of Powell's strategy, many consumers had been waiting for a drop in rates to make things like homes, vehicles, and credit cards less expensive. Taking a closer look at the CPI numbers, energy costs appeared to stay steady after a string of recent monthly declines. Used vehicle prices jumped 2.7%, and airline fares also climbed 3.2%. One drop in something most of us use every week, gas prices, down nearly 0.1 of a percentage point across all fuel types. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
And next in sports, we are live at PDN Stadium and just about 20 minutes away from kickoff. Stay tuned for a full preview of Ohio's matchup against Eastern Michigan.
From Namibia's infamous Skeleton Coast comes an almost mythical story.
The first time I saw a lioness on the beach, I was so fascinated by how they could possibly survive here.
But the coastal desert lions vanished. Nearly 4 decades later, the legacy of one lioness could rewrite lion history.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
I hear the echoes all through the meadows. Breathe in and let go. That sweet surrender. I've been running all through the night. You can knock me down, but I've got my will to survive. Rise up, rise up, rise up.
Together, we can make real change happen.
On Nova, building stuff.
Accelerating system.
From the way we reach space.
A spinning arm that's throwing satellites into space. That's totally new.
To restoring lost abilities.
Oh my gosh, this man has lost his vision and now he can see something.
Amazing innovations.
That was the first time in years that I had a sensation of vision.
In engineering, it's like a superpower.
Boosted. On Nova.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Now we'll send it right out to Andrew Bowlby with more on the football game and Bobcat Showcase.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Well, the Bobcats are facing a team tonight that they aren't that familiar with. Since the year 2000, Ohio has only faced Eastern Michigan 9 times, but they have won 8 of those matchups. Ohio is also coming into this week rolling. Over the last 2 games, they've outscored Buffalo and Kent State by a combined score of 88-16. Arguably, the most important key tonight is the turnover margin. Eastern Michigan has a +7 turnover margin, while Ohio is on the opposite end of the spectrum at -8. It will be crucial for Ohio's offense to take care of the ball. For the Bobcats defense, they played a near-perfect game last week as they shut out Kent and generated 5 sacks and 1 interception along the way. This week, they face one of the better offenses in the conference. The Eagles average about 30 points per game and have a dual-threat quarterback in Cole Snyder. He ranks 2nd in MAC passing yards while also being a capable rusher. Head coach Tim Albin knows the challenge of facing a well-coached Eastern Michigan team.
We're going to have to go out there and earn the victory if we're able to get that done, because they're well-coached, they play hard, they got good scheme, and good players.
Now, Ohio's game tonight has some weight because of where they sit in the conference, plus some of the results from last night. Bowling Green and Western Michigan came into this week as 2 of the 4 teams tied for first in the MAC, and they played last night, and BG came out victorious. Toledo also earned its 4th MAC win over Central Michigan. The Rockets will be Ohio's next opponent when they meet a week from tonight. And finally, last night, Buffalo came back and completed a dramatic comeback to take down Ball State in overtime. Because Western Michigan fell last night, that means, for the moment, Bowling Green is at the top of the conference all alone. However, Ohio and Miami are kicking off shortly and will have chances to match the Falcons' win last night. Toledo and Buffalo are staying in the mix at 4-2 each, while the rest of the conference find themselves at under 500. Last night, Ohio men's basketball fell on the road to Illinois State 85-75, and that loss drops the Bobcats to 1-2 in the early season. Ohio got off to a slow start, and although they did get things going in the second half, taking a lead at one point, it wasn't enough. Ohio's defense struggled, allowing ISU to shoot 61% from the floor and 53% from 3. Individually, A.J. Brown played his best game since returning from an injury last season, leading the Bobcats with 20 points on 6 for 13 shooting. He also played 36 minutes last night. The Bobcats continue a road trip to Memphis, Tennessee on Friday when they take on the Tigers. Guys, we are nearing kickoff right here at Peden Stadium up in the next 15-20 minutes. You can get all post-game content on Bobcat Showcase. For now, let's go back into studio with Alex and Allison.
Thanks, Andrew. Now, Lexi, I know you said it was going to be a little bit chilly tonight. Do you think it's going to be sweater cold, or do you think it's going to be winter jacket cold?
That definitely depends on personal preference, but I personally, for me at least, I would be wearing a winter jacket. I'd get cold pretty easily.
For Andrew, though, it's sweater weather.
Andrew, it's sweater weather. He's sitting out there without a jacket. I'm like, how are you doing this? I would be in a winter jacket. Currently here is 51 degrees with clear skies and winds from our west at about 3 miles per hour. Now, we do have some rain coming into our area, but luckily it is expected to hold off for the game, so it will stay pretty dry for that game. Really going to hit overnight and into tomorrow. But we have this system making its way up from the middle U.S. right now. Now, you're going to see warm front, right? And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, we're going to be warm. No, that's the complete opposite of what's happening right now. We'll get more into that in a second. With our national satellite, we can see that cloud cover start to make its way into our area. With this system. Now, across the board, Zanesville, you're at 57, Lancaster, you're at 57, Newark, you're at 57, New Philadelphia, you're at 53. So we are seeing those mid to upper 50s throughout southeast Ohio right now. Today, we did have mostly cloudy skies with a high of 59 and that low of 39 that we are expected to have tonight. Now, we do have that 90% chance of rain, like I said, not expected to hit until post-game, which is going to be very nice, but if you have a little sprinkle or two, I wouldn't fret. Tomorrow's sunrise at 7:10 as well, and tomorrow that 100% chance of rain, a high of 53 and a low of 44, excuse me. Now, you're going to see that 53, you'll be like, okay, so cold front, right? actually, it's a little more complicated than that. We can see that with our surface analysis. Now, it's starting off as a cold front. We're going to be a little cold tomorrow, but rain for sure. But as we go into tomorrow night, that front is actually going to become what is an occluded front. With an occluded front, there's not going to be much of a temperature gradient like you would see with a warm front or a cold front, with a warm front being warmer, cold front being colder. Occluded front, you're really just going to be seeing more rain. And tomorrow we are expected to have about an inch of rainfall, which is going to be super nice considering we're still in that D4 drought, but it should be out of our way by Friday. And we can see that a lot better with our 7-day. Like I said, tomorrow, probably a washout. Friday, there is a slight chance of rain that will likely just be overnight, the last little bits of tomorrow's rain, but it's going to lead to a pretty decent weekend in the upper 50s. In the upper 50s going into a week with the low 60s. So definitely feeling a little bit more like fall, a little bit more like November, not much like we're going into Thanksgiving though. We'll get back to Alex at the desk.
Thanks, Lexi. And next, with 2024 coming to a close, experts say now is the time to start thinking about your retirement plans, how you can save ahead of the new year.
Did you know that you can donate property to WOUB Public Media? I'm WOUB Community Engagement and Membership Manager Sherry Russo. Donating property is a great way to support WOUB, and you may even claim a significant tax deduction. Properties in any location, condition, and format are eligible for donation to WOUB. Back taxes, mortgage balances, and deferred maintenance do not prohibit your ability to donate. Our program covers all loans, liens, commissions, and closing costs, so long as there is equity in the property. If you have a land, residential, or commercial real estate asset that's unused or costing you money, consider giving back to the station you love by donating it to WOUB.
And the process is easy. Go to WOUB.org and click the Support tab to learn about property donations, along with many other ways to support WOUB.
There's something I need your help with. What's to be done?
You can't resist it.
No more can you. What sort of people are these Wilcoxes? Come down with me now to Howard's End. What if the killer's someone we haven't considered yet? You couldn't have just started a book club, could you?
They're some of the most powerful people in the land. Well then, I'll be on my best behavior.
Sunday on WOUB.
Cyril, it's snowing.
Well, you just look at that.
We are planning something rather special.
Lights, music.
There's such a lot for you to see.
Have you ever had that feeling? You're exactly where you belong.
Stream classic Call the Midwife specials with PBS Passport, leading up to an all-new holiday special on Christmas Day.
Experts say now is the time to start thinking about whether you want to make changes to one of your retirement accounts for 2025. Jen Sullivan looks at how much you should be putting away for your retirement.
You'll be able to put more money into a 401k retirement account in 2025. That's because the IRS announced new changes. Next year, you'll be able to contribute up to $23,500. That's up $500 from this year.
It may not seem like a big increase, but over the long run, it can make a substantial difference.
Sabino Vargas, a senior financial advisor at Vanguard, recommends 12 to 15% of your annual income should be put towards retirement savings. So, if you're making $50,000 a year, you ideally should be putting between $6,000 to $7,500 in an account such as a 401k. And look into what your company offers. Many will match what you put in up to a certain number.
Contribute enough to get your employer match. That way you're not leaving any money on the table.
Vanguard financial planners advise people should plan to spend between 75 to 85% of their current income each year once they retire. Contributing to a 401k also has tax benefits. That money is taken out before federal taxes, so it lowers your taxable income. Vargas also recommends taking advantage of your company's health savings account, or HSA.
Money goes in pre-tax, money gross tax deferred, and money can come out tax-free as long as you use it for qualified medical expenses.
Vargas also recommends to start saving at a young age. Contribute what you can. Anything is better than nothing. And put more money away as you progress in your career. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Still ahead, the results are in. People magazine names this year's sexiest man alive. We tell you more right after the break.
It shows us something between what you see and what you don't see.
This is the story of the most curious man in history.
The influence of Leonardo's vision was enormous.
He's doing things no one had ever done before. And that is simply astounding.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Understanding the past gives a sense of the future. This is the first time that anyone has seen this in 2,000 years.
This is amazing.
Well, I'm excited now.
Pompeii is a battle against time.
You think I'm joking, but look at this. It did really happen.
Don't let anybody tell you who you are.
History teaches us to honor the past.
When you look back, you're like, wow, that was pretty special.
This is something that's actually altering the course of history.
You're charged with keeping these stories alive.
Today's the day.
You're home.
It's a celebration.
Here we go. No one can say I don't have accomplished daughters.
We need more fun in our family.
It's just like a real blessing.
Look at this spread.
That's good.
Your heart gets so full that you think it's gonna burst.
Actor John Krasinski is named People magazine's Sexiest Man Alive for 2024. The publication shared a photo of Krasinski on its new cover on social media. Krasinski is best known for starring as Jim Halpert in The Office for 9 seasons, but he also directed and starred in the 2018 film A Quiet Place alongside his wife, actress Emily Blunt. Krasinski says he was shocked when he got the call.
Zero thoughts other than maybe I'm being punked. And then after that, it was just, it was a full surreality. That's not how I wake up usually thinking, is this the day that I'll be asked to be sexiest man alive? And yet, it was the day.
Krasinski joked that when he told his wife about this sexy achievement, quote, there was so much laughter on the other end of the phone.
You may be able to see some fireballs in the sky tonight as the northern Taurus meteor shower is set to peak this week. Meteors should be visible almost everywhere in the world. NASA says optimal visibility will likely occur after midnight. The American Meteor Society says the northern Taurus will be visible until December 2nd.
Wow. Okay, well, I was going to go to bed early tonight, but I cannot possibly miss out on this if everyone in the world can see it. I'm not going to be the only one.
Lexi, will we be able to see it tonight?
Probably not given our rain and cloud cover, but unfortunately.
Travel. I'll drive. I don't care.
All right.
Yeah, no, if we look at our 7-day, you can see that we are going to have that rain tonight and tomorrow and going into Friday as well, but it'll make a good week.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching.
This is the PBS app, ready for you when you want to watch full episodes of your favorite shows. Even stream your local station live. Stream anytime, anywhere with the free PBS app.